there, welcome to the Teeny Tinkers channel. I make ball jointed doll and craft related content. Yes, I'm wearing the same sweater I've been wearing in quite a few videos. It's because it's the same day. So, yeah, I basically took Christmas off. So, yeah, I had to get some videos made. So we're doing this today. I have been filming this one over the last month though, because this is my getting a BJD ready for the caster video. I am not an expert by any means. I have sent one doll to one caster. So this is based off my experience with Hollow and then what my caster and I discussed and what I learned for sending the next doll. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I had to do were sculpting edits, of course. So I had initially printed out Clover's original prototype in full MSD scale. And for all of those who don't know, this is Clover in her original MSD form. And we did make some changes. So I found the neck to be a little bit too thin and gave her a bit too much of a bobblehead motion. And I just didn't like the way it sat. So what I did is I added a ball to the top of the neck. And this made it both sturdier and gave her a better range of motion and allowed her to hold the poses better. I also went ahead and tried a different, I don't know what you call this, the mechanism where the neck, the S-hook comes up through the head. I did it differently. So I did it like a slot that you pull it through and then twist sideways, and then it kind of just sits in like that. I like the way this fit really well, and this was really nice and easy to get in, so I really like the way it turned out. Very happy with it. The only other change was I slightly shortened the torso ball, squashed it down. I just think it gave a nicer silhouette. There's no other reason. It doesn't affect the functionality, doesn't affect the posing. It just made her a little bit less long in the torso, and I prefer the way it looks. So that was it though. From there, we had to go and reprint the doll. So I mixed together a bunch of leftover resins because this is a doll that's going to the caster. It doesn't matter if it's a cute color or anything like that. So there's a little bit of purple, a lot of pink, some beige, and some white in there. And it ended up making that neon coral color again. I don't know what it is. Every time you add pink and beige, 3D printer resin, it turns into this neon coral. And I mean, it's a choice. But yeah, like I said, it's just going to the caster anyway, so they don't care what color you send it in. I printed the entire doll at 0.01 millimeters thickness. This means minimal lines, minimal the weird little swirly things, less sanding, and just an easier idea of what a cast version might look like. There's virtually no print lines on this doll. There's a couple over the belly that I sanded out. But yeah, you really did not get a lot of print lines on 0.01 millimeter thickness. This did mean it took forever to print. I think there were 3 plates for MSD sized Clover, and it took 17 to 21 hours per plate to print. So that's 20 hours in the printer, and then 15 minutes in the wash, which is a 99% alcohol wash, and then another 25 minutes in the curing machine. I don't always cure for 25 minutes because sometimes it can slightly yellow the resin. It goes over the curing line and starts yellowing. But again, it doesn't make it more brittle. It just makes it yellow. So I really didn't mind if she went over. I really wanted to make sure she was cured all the way through and super strong and stable for the journey and for the casting process. Next step was sanding and modifying. So as the pieces were coming in, so as each plate finished, I went ahead and sanded each piece with varying grits. Like I said, I didn't have to go in with anything super, super coarse because there were no print lines. I did use the thicker grids to get rid of any support marks. So when you print in 3D, you can end up with these dot looking things from the supports. That was the only place I really had to use anything with a thick grit. Besides that, it was a fine grit and a polish over most of the doll. I just used a fine grit wet sand. And then I used a magic eraser to kind of buff everything out. So here is where I noticed the knee fit was way better but I wanted it to just be a little shorter, so I did kind of just smooth it down and just take it down about maybe a millimeter total. Not a big change. And then I did the test stringing. Since the wrists and the feet don't have bars, this is as per my caster's request, they add the metal bars in for you into the wrists and feet, so they prefer, my caster at least prefers that they don't have those natively. When I say the bars, I mean like, here's an example of a hollow foot where it's got the resin bar in it that you would hook the S-hook, but they use metal ones and they drill them and do all that. So we're gonna let them do that. I didn't need to include those. So yeah, I had to use wooden beads to basically get the pieces to stay on, and it worked pretty well. So I also chose wooden beads because these are a little gentler than S-hooks and less likely to scratch the doll in transit. I also tested the posing and took some photos for my caster. Once I was happy with how the doll posed and how smooth it was and all of that, which took a while, but once we got there, I had to pack up the doll. So I bubble wrapped all of the pieces. So I printed out extra hands and extra knees just in case the caster didn't like the sanded version. I sent him an unsanded version and then he could choose which ones he thought were better. I had been saving my bubble wrap forever. From all dolls I've been getting in, I've been saving the bubble wrap, been saving the doll foam. I had one body come in this like foam cutout thing. I've never seen this before, but I used that as a base for packing and it worked really well. But I wrapped each piece of the doll, which I kept assembled because my caster likes to see how it moves in his hands when he gets it. But I wrapped each arm and then each leg and then put it in like a body cast and put this into this like doll foam. I also wrapped each hand, and including the extra hands and wrists, together into some bubble wrap and folded it over. Same thing with the extra knees and the feet, rolled up, put in together, and the head and the head cap, which got bubble wrapped and tucked in really nicely. Because I'm also sending Sodapop at the same time, which is my human doll, I did make a PDF and also a printout, which just detailed which doll needed what. Like Sodapop is just the head and she goes with the hollow body, and I would like the samples by this date time if possible. And she shouldn't need any sanding because it's a head and it's really, I just figured I would just sand the crap out of the head and get it done. But yeah, doesn't need any sanding. And then these are the colors I want for the samples. And then same thing with Clover. I need these samples. I would like these samples by date time. Here are the colors I want. Yada yada. Finally, it's time to ship. So for this, I learned you never use the cheap shipping. And when I say cheap, it's still not cheap. When I sent Hollow her original prototype, I sent it with a shipping that said it would take, I think it was like 6 to 15 business days. And it was untracked outside of Canada, but it only took 6 to 15 business days. And it got lost. And it still cost $70. So like it was very expensive. This go around, I learned that I would rather it take a little longer to get there, but it be tracked all the way and handled better, hopefully. So the shipping option we're going to be choosing this time is about $130 to $150. But you know, I'll be able to track it. I'll know when it gets there. I won't be panicked. $150 for my sanity is 100% worth it. So yeah, she's going to be going with the expensive shipping this time. By the way, that's her back there in the box, just in case you did not recognize the Angel of Dream box I have repurposed from Nando's head there. So I'm shipping it out at the end of January, which is going to give me enough time to complete Sodapop and get her head completely sanded and everything. And then pack that up, and it'll be shipping over Chinese New Year. And then I'm hoping it gets there for like beginning of March. Honestly, I'm really hoping to have Sodapop, her samples done I don't know, for June, July. However, I am gonna wait until after the holos come in and are sent to their owners. I don't want to overwhelm myself, and I really want to make sure I've completed the process once before hosting a second pre-order. For my sanity, for anybody who's purchased sanity, I really don't want to give the impression that I'm just like making and selling and then not fulfilling. So I would like to fulfill the holos first. So yeah, wish them safe travels. I'm going to be playing most by ear, but stay tuned because there are going to be updates on a Soda pre-order eventually, and samples and all that good stuff. This channel is becoming a partial collector channel and a partial doll maker channel, and I just want to share it all with you. I think this is really fun, and it's really fun to chat it out with you guys and talk with you guys in the comments about it and answer any questions or anything. If you have any questions about my experience doll making or anything, drop them below. I'll be sure to like try and answer them in like a Coffees and Dollies or something coming up. But besides that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're new here, and especially if you like doll making content, be sure to subscribe now. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.